Hello, this is Mr. Huff. Let's talk about data analysis. So I'm going to be asking you this year to organize data into data tables and to do some summary calculations. So what I would like you to do is when you're collecting data, start with the data table. I've seen just in this short time already that some of you, this is a lost concept. You just start writing numbers all over the place. It looks like number barf. Just put a title and then maybe give yourself some lines, or just start putting in a column. Also, if you make changes, be sure to note where those changes occur and what they were. So be organized in your data collection and your life will be a lot more pleasant. So here we have some results. These are in pound inches. Notice how I put right here, I put the unit in the label and I don't have to put it with the numbers. The problem with putting it with the numbers is if you say 17 pound inch, 7 and 12 pound inch, in the cell itself, the spreadsheet can no longer use that as a calculation, and we need to be able to calculate. So we're going to do some just basic stuff real quick, just looking at this. So we're going to look at the mean. So we're going to go over here next to this, and we're going to put equals. So we're going to type the word average, open a parenthesis, and then we need our data. So we're going to go over here. A couple of different ways we can do this. If this column is only has numbers that are real, you can just click on the column. It'll say A:A. If you want, you can just grab the, click on the first cell, hold Control and Shift and the down arrow. It will select all of those. So we have 100 measurements here. I'm going to use this method, but it would give you the same results. Okay? And it's suggesting that we autofill. I'm just going to hit check. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. Okay, so we're going to delete that. Right now, this is our mean, 15.448. That's this data set of 100 measurements. Okay, the next thing we need to know is standard deviation. So we're going to put equals and type this. STDEV, and this is a sample standard deviation. And again, we're just going to go over here and choose our entire data table. With Control Shift down arrow, close the parentheses and hit enter. And there is our standard deviation. One of the things I would suggest is those extra decimal places really are not meaningful. So we can make that a little shorter or longer using these two buttons here. So we're going to reduce that to like 2 decimal places. That's adequate. Usually in engineering, I only expect you to go to about 4 important numbers. We'll talk more about that when we show your work. But the thing is, if there's no reason to put a 10-digit number there because most of those digits are meaningless. So, all right, next thing we want to do, maybe we want to know the max. So we're going to go equal and type the word max. And then we're going to select our data table once again. Control Shift and down arrow. Close the parenthesis and enter. Now we have that. Okay. So our max data point in this set is 21. Okay, you could also do the same with min. Another thing we can do is mode. So one of the things I want to point out is mode is going to go to a single mode, and then there's also one called multi. And you can look at the differences between those. For the purposes of this demonstration, we're just going to use mode, and we're going to find the number that occurs most often, and it's 15. Okay, so I don't want to autofill. I'm going to turn that off. We can also do median, and this is the value that is exactly in the middle. And what we can do with these two numbers is this. We can tell if these two numbers are the same, mode and median. If they are exactly the same number, then we probably have a normal distribution. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about making charts. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do insert chart. And it's guessing that this is a histogram, and that's what we want. You can also choose other charts. I'm going to go with histogram. That's one we'll use a lot. It's a really great way to look at a distribution for a set of data. So let's look at what this is. And this is a normal distribution. Look at this. The center peak occurs at the middle. It's about the same on both sides. And this is a classic bell curve. If you just drew a line through all of your data here, it makes a nice little bell. and that's exactly what a normal distribution looks like. If it's the center occurs to the left or to the right, then your data is skewed one way or another. Another one we use is the scatter plot. So I'm just going to scroll down here until we see scatter. And there it is. And it would look like this. And if you look at this, you get kind of the same information. You can see visually there's an average around 15. And we have about an equal number of dots on either side of that center line. We'll talk about regression analysis later. Right now, we don't have anything to do a comparison with, but this is another way to look at it. But it's not as useful in this case as a histogram. So for showing a graph of this data to visualize it, I would suggest a histogram. And that's one of the cool things about this. Once you've got your chart set up, you can try different things. You could show lines, you could show the scatter plot, you could do different things and see what one makes the most sense. In this case, I love the histogram. All right, that's enough for now. That's just some basics of how to do some analysis using a spreadsheet.